Hello everyone, welcome to darkironphoenix's video tutorials, and today I'm going to be going into the wonderful world of the post-apocalyptic map. So, here we have something that I knocked up earlier. Some people that frequent the Face Punch forums will recognise some of the brushwork. These are all unreleased maps of mine that I've kind of compiled together into this post-apocalyptic scene, and as you can see, it is quite large. The blockout is actually from another unreleased map of mine called RP Dissolution, and I've arranged some sort of buildings and things that are all set up and ready to go, and it's this map that I'll now be using to do tutorials and things. So if we just go to the whole idea of post-apocalypse, it's almost an extinction level event. So, but it can be anything from nuclear to virus to earthquake, tsunami, anything like that. Even like an ice age would cause an apocalypse. And you're looking at the rapid reduction of mankind on the planet. So in my mind, post-apocalypse can be one of two things. It can be either a natural disaster like an ice age, or a man-made disaster like nuclear war, zombie outbreak, all that sort of thing. And if you feel like you really want to get into that sort of mindset, I'd recommend you read a book called Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. John Wyndham was writing about what if situations. What if aliens attack? What if we create this plant and then our Earth drifts through an asteroid belt? They were written in the period of the Cold War, so we got all the Cold War tensions in there as well, and mistrust and all of that, and they're really, really good books for reading about post-apocalyptic situations from the mindset of just the average Joe. So yeah, next thing we're going to look at is the purpose and the flow. Alright, if I take you to the sawmill. This is the sawmill, and it's got a little bunker here, with a player start here, which I'm just going to remove. Now, what you've got to look at with these maps is why did this happen, and then what do you want the player to get out of it. If you want it just to be an RP map, like this one will probably be just a large RP map with lots of things to explore, then you kind of put your player starts down, and it doesn't really matter what you do. If you want it to be like a single player map, you've really got to think about your purpose and your flow. Saw a map video recently for P-Apocalypse, and in that video you went into a building, you pressed a power button which started a generator, and then you moved on. There wasn't really any point to anything that you were doing. Make it obvious that you've got a point. So in that situation, you could have a door with a button next to it that could be obviously powered down, and then you'd have to go back, start up the generator, which would power up the button, then you could press the button to open the door. Make it really obvious that what you're doing is so that you can progress, because you don't want to let's say let the player miss something that he then needs to go back to, which could, if you designed your map badly, actually be impossible. So yeah, next thing, your research, quite important. Say I wanted to go over here. There's a lot of space here. Now this is just one big displacement because I haven't chopped it up yet. But say, for example, I wanted to create a crashed missile. So I'd create my prop static, and there's a good one in Rocket. And yeah, so say I want to just take that, plump it in the ground. Now, got to think about how these things land. Again, in P-Apocalypse, he had a building about here, say, and then he had his crashed aircraft, and there was no reason for the aircraft to be crashed like that. And so, you know, just make it realistic. So in your sort of research section, you're looking at buildings and you think, right, so time has damaged this place quite more than explosions or missiles. So how did time cause this structure to collapse? And have a look on Google. There's loads of images of derelict buildings that have just been left. They're derelict because they've just been left in neglect. So in the example of the missile, so we want to flip it over like that, maybe bring it around a little bit more, just get my viewpoint ports to it. So probably want it sort of about that, I think, and then you can just alter your displacement around it so you've got some kind of crater. Which is geometry. It won't look brilliant because the crater will be massive, because I haven't chopped up these displacements yet, but yeah, kind of create craters and things around any objects that you're crashing. If it's something large like a plane, look at debris trails, trenches behind it, things like that. Perfect example of how not to do it is the COD 4 map Crash. That's the one where you've got a Chinook that's looks like it would have had to drop vertically from the sky to land like that and not cause any damage around it, yet it's kind of chopped up into 3 pieces, which makes no real sense. So just kind of think about how things destruct, and that way it just looks a lot more realistic. So that's my first tutorial done on this. I'll be going into much more detail in future tutorials, and I'll be looking at all sorts of crazy little things that you can do to make your post-apocalyptic maps look a little bit better. But just before I end, I'll just go a little bit into fluorescent lighting, because it's dead easy to do if I find a good one. Oh, here's good enough. So here we have our light model. We have a prop. We have a point spotlight, not point light. We have a light spot, which casts the light down. Then about halfway between the entity and the ground, I'll put a light, and then I'll just change the brightness to a very sort of light yellow, because unless you're situating your maps in a lab, no light will be so pure white. It'll be a little bit tinted yellow, or blue. Blue's another one you can use. And a light will create an environment. So blue is usually used to simulate cold environments. Green in theatre anyway is used to kind of simulate sort of outdoors, and I use a sort of a very pale yellow to simulate fluorescent lights and some normal lights as well. Dingy lights, there's actually a preset for this, either that one there or that one, and it creates a very good sort of dirty light. So that's it for today, and hope this helps you a little bit, and I'll be using this map in future tutorials. So, and I will release this map. I've said this on YouTube now, so I kind of have to release it, so I will be releasing this map.